Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. But this continent, with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. It is a continent of vast, arable and fertile lands. It has the youngest population of any of the continents in the world. So it has the energy and the dynamism. We've seen it. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries. And we're going to have those energies working in our countries if we begin to build systems that tell the young people of our country that their hopes, their opportunity are right here with us.
Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Wherever you're watching from, thank you so much. Now, in today's video, I'm going to react on this speech of Nana Akufo-Addo, the president of Ghana. Speech he presented in a summit with France President Marcon. This speech is for 6 years ago. Now, first of all, I always say that speeches are good, but we have actions. Now, if you are watching from Ghana, tell me in the comment section, according to this speech, the thing that Nana Akufo said is that we want the youths of Africa to remain in Africa. We want the youths of Ghana to remain in Ghana. Now, he will be putting projects and he will be putting developments to make sure that the youths of Africa to remain and build Africa. Now, if you are watching from Ghana, tell me on the comment section if this is happening in Ghana. Because in Kenya, it's not happening. We just have cheap talks, speeches, good speeches, perfect one, but we don't see the actions. Now, this is a speech of 6 years ago from Nana Akufo in front of Marcon, and it was a brave speech. Let's hear this, and then we're going to talk about it.
I hope that the comments I'm about to make will not offend the questioner too much and some people around here. I think there is a fundamental misstatement of the issue in the question. We can no longer continue to make policy for ourselves, in our country, in our region, in our continent, on the basis of whatever support the Western world or France or the European Union can give us. It will not work. It has not worked, and it will not work. Our responsibility is to charter a path which is about how we can develop our nations ourselves. It is not right for a country like Ghana, 60 years after independence, to still have its health and education budgets being financed on the basis of the generosity and charity of European taxpayers. By now, we should be able to finance our basic needs ourselves. And if we are going to look at the next 60 years as a period of transition, a period whereby we can stand on our own feet, our perspective has not to be what the French taxpayer decides to do with whatever surpluses that they have in France. They're welcome. They're appreciated. Whatever interventions that the French taxpayer through their governments make to us are appreciated. We're not going to lick a gift horse in the mouth. But this continent, with all that has happened, is still today the repository of at least 30% of the most important minerals of the world. It is a continent of vast, arable and fertile lands. It has the youngest population of any of the continents in the world. So it has the energy and the dynamism. We've seen it. These young men who are showing so much resilience and ingenuity in crossing the Sahara, finding ways to go across with rickety boats across the Mediterranean to really, those energies, we want to have those energies working inside our countries. And we're going to have those energies working in our countries if we begin to build systems that tell the young people of our country that their hopes, their opportunity are right here with us. Migration and the movement of people is being presented in a manner which suggests that somehow it's a new phenomenon. There's nothing new about it. It's as old as man, the movement of people. And it has always been linked to the same thing. The failure of where you are to provide you with an opportunity, so you move somewhere else. Those of you who are familiar with 19th century European history would know that the biggest wave of immigration in 19th century Europe, the latter part of it, came from Ireland and from Italy. Waves upon waves, generations of Italians and the Irish people left their countries to seek the American paradise, largely because Ireland was not working, Italy was not working. Today, you don't hear it. Italian young people are in Italy. Irish young people are in Ireland. We want young Africans to stay in Africa. And how are they? And it means that we have to get away from this mindset of dependence. This mindset about what can France do for us. France will do whatever it needs to do for its own sake. And when those coincide with ours, tant mieux, as the French people say. But our main responsibility as leaders, as citizens, is what we need to do to grow our own countries. What are the institutions that work that would allow us to have good governance, to have accountable governance, to make sure that the monies that are placed at the disposal of leaders are used for the interests of the state and not for those of the leaders, to have systems that allow for accountability, that allow for diversity, that allow for people to be able to express themselves and contribute to fashioning the public will and the public interest. Our concern should be with what do we need to do in this 21st century to move Africa away from being cap in hand and begging for aid, for charity, for handouts. The African continent, when you look at its resources, should be giving monies to other places. We have huge wealth on this continent, in our own country of Ghana. And we need to have a mindset that says, we can do it. Others have done it. We can also do it. And once we have that mindset, we will see it as a liberating factor for ourselves. We keep talking about how it was that Koreans, Malaysians, Singaporeans, who got their independence at the same time as us. We're told of that at the time of Ghanaian independence, per capita Ghanaian income was higher than that of Korea. Today, Korea is part of the first world. So is Malaysia. So is Singapore. What happened? Why did they make that transition? And 60 years after independence, we are where we are. Those are the matters that should concern all of us as Africans, as Ghanaians. And not, when I say so with the greatest of respect to the French president, I think that the cooperation of France is something that I am, as you know, a strong friend of France. I am Francophile. So I don't have any difficulty with that. But I'm talking about our own propulsion, what we need to do to get our countries to work so that we can create the conditions that would allow our young people to forego this hazardous effort to get to Europe. They're not going there because they want to. They're going there because they don't believe they have any opportunities in our countries. So that should be our focus. And I believe that with that if we change that mindset of dependence, that mindset which is contingent on aid and charity, we would see that in the decades ahead of us, the full flowering of the African peoples would take place. And that new African personality that was talked about at the time of our independence will become real and imminent in our times. That's what I'm saying. I hope that I'm not upsetting the questioner or even some of my friends who are here. But these are my strongly held beliefs. And that is the reason why I've adopted as the slogan of my presidency, of my period of the Supreme Office of Ghana, that we want to build a Ghana beyond aid, a Ghana which is independent, which is self-sufficient, that is capable of standing on its own feet and building its own life. We can do it if we have the correct mindset to do so. Mr. President.
Now, welcome back. I know by now if you're watching from Ghana, Nigeria, West Africa, if you're watching from the world, if you're watching from abroad, anywhere you're watching from, tell me on the comment section if what do you collect from this speech and if most of them is happening. Because this is a speech that it showed that Nana Akufo is a brave man. And even some people are saying that protect this man by all costs and he will make Ghana great again. But from the word I have seen or from the comments I have seen from my Ghanaian friends, it's not the same. Because Ghana is going down economically. Ghana is, and just the other day they wanted to protest because economic wise Ghana is going down. But if I come to point out something from this speech, I'll point out about the thing he said that the youths of Africa to stay back in Africa, the youths of Ghana to stay in Ghana. Because we are giving away a lot of knowledges. We are giving away our own brains. Africa is giving out brains to the Western world because those brains cannot have a space here in Africa because we are under development, because poverty and everything is surrounding us. And yet we have the resources to make us great again. I talk every day and say that in Africa, we have people who can make phones, people make cars, aeroplanes, we have people we can make anything in Africa because we got everything. If we don't have, we can do business with them. But for them, they exploit, they don't do business. But whenever someone is being seen as a youth, a good talent is being taken away, good brains, somebody has made a car somewhere in the village, taken away, or the government will just squeeze him and he will not be heard again. And that's what is killing the youth of Africa. Believe me, we have a lot to offer as Africans people. And it was a brave speech from Nana Akufo. And this 6 years ago, I could hear this speech and say that this is the best president. Because he said that some things cannot continue like that. Because French people, taxpayers are paying their money, they cannot dictate what they want to do to us. They cannot control what they are doing to African countries. It was a great speech. But does it count? Has it counted up to now? That's my question I'm asking. And that's why we want to see and what we do as Africans, most of us, we forget. We forget easily. And we forgive easily. 5 years, a leader came here, told us we'll do something, and we give him our vote. After 5 years, he doesn't do that thing. He will ask his votes again, and we will forget about those. We will forgive. Simply because we have religion to protect them. Religion say, forgive and forget. And that's what we do as Africans. We don't keep our own history. We don't. Because religion or religious is protecting the corrupt leaders, the bad leaders, because it says forgive and forget. And that's what African people do. They forgive and forget about the corrupt leaders, about leaders who have killed people, about leaders who have killed children, about leaders who have left you to starve to death. We will forgive and forget because religion is protecting them. And that's what sometimes I say, religion is good, but sometimes it makes us feel like we don't deserve something good. Not that we don't deserve something good. They have the way they interpret it to us. They interpret us to us in a way for us to feel that goal is not ours. Our goal is in heaven. And even in the Bible, it's being written, our people are suffering because the lack of knowledge. We are lacking knowledge to interpret perfectly the scriptures. Now they are interpreting for us, and they are doing it a wrong way, in a wrong way. But let's pray to God that we open our mind. Let's pray to God that we have knowledge. Because leaders have good speech. I remember in one summit, William Ruto, the speech was perfect. They clapped for him, standing ovation. We say this is the new Sankara in Africa. This is the new who in Africa. Deep down, he is a puppet to the West. He is a puppet to the West. Fake promises, fake projects, everything he speaks, just a lie. We have Ibrahim Traore here. He speaks, he has actions, but they want to take him down. A lot of coup d'etat every time coups. Because they don't want something who act. Because Africans, black leaders believe that we are controlled, believe that this nation is not theirs. So they are doing for themselves, let them get rich. They don't care about you. Now, this was a great speech from Nana Akufo-Addo, a speech that made us feel, or made African feel, that this is the man to be, made Ghanaians feel that this is the best guy to be. But he has come out to be the puppet of the West. He has come out to be a beggar for the IMF and World Bank, keeping Ghana into debts and shits and holes that coming from it is very hard. Now a lot of Ghanaians are going into, are immigrants. Some of them are in South Africa. Most of them are even in Nigeria. Most of Ghanaians youths are running out of the country because the country is unbearable. The country is hot. The country is watery, slippery. You cannot stand. It's slippery, it is dry at the same time, it's hot and cold at the same time. Economy is poor. And the developments that Nana Akufo said that he will keep at place so that the youths can stay in the country, we are not seeing it anymore. That's our Africa, and that's why we need Africa to stand. Let's see. Let's open this issue of forgetting and forgiving and forgetting. No. When I give you my task, I won't forget and I won't forgive. That's what teachers did. Teachers were not they will only forgive if they give you another chance, but they will surely not forget that you did something. And teachers, they bring up children to be good people because they don't forget, they don't forgive, they will punish you. If they don't cane you, they'll give you punishment. If they don't give you punishment today, they'll give you punishment tomorrow. That's how it needs to be. Let's hold our leaders accountable of what is happening. We cannot go on forgetting and forgiving them and giving them chances, and yet they're stealing every now and then. That's bad. It's something that needs to stop. Now, that's where religion comes in between. I say sometimes religion is keeping us in a spot where we can't do anything good for us. We don't want to see our life going on well because we believe that suffering is for the Lord. The Lord does not want us to suffer. Believe me, God does not want us to suffer. God has given us everything in this world. The goal of this world, the richness of this world is ours. But we cannot take them because they are telling us it is not ours. And we believe because they are coming with the scriptures, misinterpreting it. We have to seek the knowledge of God. Believe me. Now, the youths of Africa, we have a lot to do. Rule number 1 is we held these leaders accountable. We are not our parents. We cannot forgive and forget. We will remember and we will tell you, you did this. Now, if you are watching from diaspora, you have only one task to do for us. The task that you have to do for Africa is one that the president of Burkina Faso, Abraham Traore, said. You are our ambassadors. Preach about Africa. Preach about the unity of Africa if you are there. Come back home. Make friends with indigenous Africa here. Don't fear that Africans, some are saying that Africans may be, con men, something, this and this and this. But no, we are good. And all we need is you. Our mind is open and we don't want to run from our countries again. We don't want to run. I don't want to run from Kenya to go and look for greener pasture. It's not greener out there. I want to remain here. I want to make Africa great. We need to make Africa great. That's what Nana Akufo said. So I don't know if he's making Ghana great, but from my perspective, we have more and more to do. Tell me what you think on the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want to talk to me, I have an email address, kenyanbeast1@gmail.com, and my number too is on the description. And super thanks.